Hello everyone and welcome to another video here on Sam's Crafty Castle. This is my first video since I came back from my break, so hi! And today I'm going to be making this Valentine's Day card for you. And it's very simple and easy using a personal favorite technique of mine, which is shaped stamping, is what I like to call it. And I chose to use these paw prints. I'm just making a panel today. I'm not making the full card because I hadn't really decided how I wanted to use these just yet. So this is the example of what I made earlier. And let's get started. So first up, we're going to talk about the supplies we're going to use. I'm just going to lay them all out here for you. So first up, we have this 5x5 square panel. I found that square and this size worked the best for the way I'm going to use this. Use a smaller heart and a smaller stamp and you can make your panel smaller. Use a bigger stamp and make a bigger one. I like this. You could layer it and do a bunch of different stuff with it. I have the heart. That is the die cut from the card, from the stencil of the card I made on Thursday. So I will link to that blog post up in the cards, so make sure you go ahead and check that out to see how you can use both halves of this image, or both halves of a die cut. And then I have an acrylic block for the stamps we're going to use, and then next I'm going to pull out some gemstones that we're going to use just to accent on the sample card you saw at the beginning that has little heart sequins on it, but I didn't like the way that came out, so I subbed them in for these gemstones on this card. That was the Playful Pups stamp set by Gina K Designs, and that is what we're going to make the paw prints for the heart. And then this, I'm going to pull out a Stampin' Up set, but I wanted to show you this part just so you could see kind of how I store my stamps. Now, this is my messy stamp storage binder, and I'm thinking of actually moving away from this system, but I just wanted to share it because it's worked well for me so far. These binders and these pages and things are just starting to become very hard to find, and I think it would be more convenient to move into a stamp storage pocket size, system, just because right now that's easier to find. But I've loved this method, and I think I have everything sorted. So like, this is my winter binder, so I have Valentine's Day, Christmas. I think there might be some fall stuff in there because it's technically fall and winter. But yeah, I love that system so very much, and I hate to be moving away from it, but it's just getting too hard to keep up with and get supplies for. And the stamps that I pulled out there was the Sent with Love stamp set from Stampin' Up. It was last year's, like, their Valentine's Day set. I used it in a class that I went to with a friend, and I fell in love with it. And had ended up thinking of buying it, and I'm using it in today's card. And then I also have, up at the top of your screen there, I have two Gina K Designs ink cubes, bubblegum pink, and black onyx. Now we get into the fun part, where we start with the technique. So first you're going to take your heart shape and put it where you want in your card. I wanted mine centered, but you could obviously move it around. It's a little easier centered, I think. You have a little more space to work with. Now, you could obviously use a smaller heart if you have a smaller stamp. You could use a bigger heart, or a larger stamp, a bigger heart if you have a smaller stamp. This is the size that worked for this card. It's still a little bit bigger than I like. The other option you have is you could also draw a heart, so you could trace that negative from the die cut, or you could trace around this heart and just do a pencil line and erase. I think that's actually harder for me. I like doing it just following the die cut, but do whatever works for you. That's the important part. So all I'm going to do is I took the paw print stamp from Playful Pups and inked it up with the bubblegum ink. And I'm just going to start stamping around the heart. So you'll notice that because of the heart shape, I skipped the middle because that's actually going to dip down to where the die cut is. So I'm going to do the middle and the bottom at the end. My other suggestion, which I don't do in this video, but having done this twice now, I would make this suggestion of doing half of it and then doing the other half of it and not going all the way around. So you'll see here, like, I'll go all the way around and then I'll start at the bottom and come back towards the top. If I could refilm this video, if I had the time to do that, I would probably start on the other side from the top. I'd go all the way to the bottom and then flip it over and start the other side from the top and go back down. I think you just get a little more even spacing on your stamping that way. But this actually turned out really well, so I'm really happy with it. But just a little tip for anyone who might be trying this after watching this video. So here you'll see I'm going to skip the bottom again because I don't have enough room on my page to do the bottom, but I also need it to come in a little bit. So you can see here, I'm trying to like guess where that next stamp should go, where I think if I had just restarted at the top, it would have been a little bit easier. But it still, like I said, comes out just fine. It does come out a little bit different than the one I showed you at the beginning of the video. It's a little squishier. I get a little closer, and I actually think that on the one I showed you at the beginning, I did do where I started at the top, and it just slipped my mind when I came to film this video. So I just forgot about it. So that's why that one comes out a little bit more even. This one comes out a little bit smaller and tighter, which when you see how I finish it, it would totally work if you had a different stamp, but it doesn't work as well with the stamp that I use to finish the video. But I'm just going to let you watch the rest of this, and I'm going to speed it up a little bit. And then one more thing to add just as I'm finishing up here. The ink in the video looks very purple, and it's just because I don't have the best lighting in my craft studio. I'm very limited on space and just don't have the space for it, for some nice lighting. So in real life it's very pink, and you can see that in the finished pictures from the thumbnail, and that I'll post at the end of the video. So here I'm just doing the bottom and that middle section of the heart. So I just took the purple heart off, the purple die cut heart off, and then I'm just filling in those two gaps like they should be with the little paw prints, and there you go. There's your little heart. So it's, not a perfect heart shape because the shape of the stamp impacts how your shape comes out, but decent enough that you know it's supposed to be a heart. So then all I'm going to do to kind of finish this up here is take the black Onyx ink and the Happy Valentine's Day stamp from that Sending Love stamp set, or Sent With, is it Sent With Love or Sending Love? I think it's Sent With Love. And the correct name will be in the description down below. And I'm going to stamp that right in the middle, and you'll see in this version it's going to overlap that middle, the dip, if you will, in the heart, where in the sample one it doesn't, and that's just because, like I said, I don't have them spaced as nice, or the paw print spaced as nice around this time. I do like that it's a little more compact, but it just, when I designed it, I meant for it to work with the stamp, so I made it bigger, and then when I did it the second time, it just didn't come out the same. But that's the joys of card making, right? Never really comes out the same every time. So I'm just going to stamp that in here, and then once I'm done, I'll just add a couple of the gemstones around the outside, because I thought it just needed something. So I just added a couple of the little gemstones around, kind of very randomly. I would also highly recommend clear sequins or any kinds of like Valentine's Day sequins. I just don't have any. I jumped on the sequin bandwagon kind of late, and I need to build up my stash of those. So there you have it. That's today's card. I'm going to sign off now and let you finish watching me put the gemstones on. And thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And I will see you again, not next Saturday, but the following Saturday. And have a crafty day.